part of the essence of what this university has always strived to be. Our students and faculty have embodied that spirit through their work to serve in our neighborhood and around the world. From tutoring at the Harvard Ed Portal in Alston to working in Liberia to mitigate the Ebola crisis, they make a difference in the lives of countless individuals. The Dexter Gate across the yard invites students to enter to grow in wisdom, depart to serve better thy country and thy kind. Today, some 6,500 graduates go forth. May each of them remember that it is in some way to serve. There is yet another danger we should note as well. Self-absorption may obscure not only our responsibilities to others, but our dependence upon them. And this is troubling for Harvard, for higher education, and for fundamental social institutions whose purposes and necessity we forget at our peril. Why do we even need college, critics demand? Can't we do it all on our own? Peter Thiel, Silicon Valley entrepreneur, has urged students to drop out and has even subsidized them, including several of our undergraduates, to leave college and pursue their individual entrepreneurial dreams. After all, the logic goes, Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates dropped out, and they seem to have done okay. Well, yes, but we should remember, Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg had Harvard to drop out of. Harvard. Harvard to serve as the place where their world-changing discoveries were born. Harvard and institutions like it to train the physicists, mathematicians, computer scientists, business analysts, lawyers, and thousands of other skilled individuals upon whom Facebook and Microsoft depend. Harvard to enlighten public servants to lead a country in which Facebook, Microsoft, and companies like them can thrive. Harvard to nurture the writers and filmmakers and journalists who create the storied content that gives the internet its substance. And we must recognize as well that universities have served as sources of discoveries essential to the work of the companies advancing the revolutions in technology that have changed our lives. From early successes in creating and programming computers to development of prototypes that laid groundwork for the now ubiquitous touchscreen. We are told, too, that universities are about to be unbundled, disrupted by innovations that enable individuals to teach themselves, selecting from a buffet of massive open online courses and building do-it-yourself degrees. But online opportunities and residential learning are not at odds. The former can strengthen, but does not supplant the latter. And through initiatives like edX and HarvardX, we are sharing intellectual riches that are the creations of institutions of higher learning, sharing them with millions of people around the globe. Intriguingly, we have found that a highly represented group among these online learners around the world is teachers who will use this knowledge to enrich their own schools and face-to-face classrooms. Assertions about the irrelevance of universities are part of a broader and growing mistrust of institutions more generally, one fueled by our intoxication with the power and charisma of the individual and the cult of celebrity. Government, business, nonprofits are joined with universities as targets of suspicion and criticism. There are few countervailing voices to remind us how institutions serve and support us. We tend to take what they do for granted. Your food was safe. Your blood test was reliable. Your polling place was open. Electricity was available when you flipped the switch. Your flight to Boston took off and landed according to rules and systems and organizations responsible for safe air travel. Just imagine a week or a month without this civic infrastructure, without the institutions that undergird our society, and without the commitment to our interdependence that created these structures of commonality in the first place. Think of the countries in West Africa that lack the public health systems to contain Ebola and the devastation that resulted. Contrast that with the network of institutions that so rapidly saved lives and contained spread of the disease when it appeared in the United States. Think about other elements of our civic infrastructure: the libraries, the museums, the school committees, the religious organizations that are as vital to moving us forward as are our roads and railways and bridges. Institutions embody our present and enduring commitments to one another. They bring our disparate talents and capacities to the pursuit of common purpose. At the same time, they link us to both what has come before and what will follow. They are repositories of values, values that precede, transcend, and outlast the self. They challenge us to look beyond the immediate, the instantly gratifying, to think about the bigger picture, the longer run, the larger whole. They remind us that the world is only temporarily ours, that we are stewards entrusted with the past and responsible to the future. We are larger than ourselves and our selfies. That responsibility is quintessentially the work of universities, calling upon our shared human heritage to invent a new future, the future that will be created by the thousands of graduates who leave here today. Our work is about that ongoing commitment, not to a single individual or even one generation or one era, but to a larger world and to the service of the age that is waiting before. In 1884, my predecessor, Charles William Eliot, unveiled a statue of John Harvard and spoke of the good that can come from the study of what we might call the enlarged life of the man whose name this university bears. Eliot said, "He will teach that the good which men do lives after them, fructified and multiplied beyond all power of measurement or computation. He will teach that from the seed which he planted have sprung joy, strength, and energy ever fresh, blooming year after year in this garden of learning, and flourishing as time goes on in all fields of human activity." In other words, that statue we paraded past this afternoon is not simply a monument to an individual, but to a community and an institution constantly renewing itself. Your presence here today represents an act of connection and of affirmation of that community and of this institution. It's a recognition of Harvard's capacity to propel you towards lives and worlds beyond your own. I thank you for the commitment that brought you here today and for all it means and sustains. I wish you joy,